Now that we've got the IDE installed and we've seen MSDN, let's go ahead and fire up C# Express and build our first application. So I'm going ahead and launch C# Express. And when C# Express comes up, you'll see a start page and the application window frame. So this right here is the start page. Over here is something called the Solution Explorer, and we'll look at that a little bit later. What I'm going to do just really quickly is get our feet wet by writing a C# application. I don't expect that you're going to understand everything I'm going to show you right away, but I know you're probably anxious to get started, so let's just go ahead and build a simple application. And once we've done that, we'll take a quick look at how we did it, and then we'll have an introduction to C# Express that explains the various parts of the program that we'll be using throughout the course to build our applications. I'm going to go ahead and click on the New Project link right here. And when I click on the New Project link, you'll notice that a dialog comes up asking me, well, what kind of application do you want to build? And you can see there's a whole bunch of built-in ones that we can choose from. There's Windows Forms applications, there's WPF, there's something called a console application, there's class library, and there's a whole bunch of other things that we can choose from. To keep things simple, we're going to build what's called a console application. And you may have heard this referred to in the past as something like a command line app or something like that. The point here is that we're not going to be focusing too much on fancy user interface or anything like that. We're going to build console applications to keep us focused on the C# language. I could name it down here something else, but this is just an example. So I'm just going to click on Console Application. And you can see that C# Express has created a sample application for me. It's opened up a file here called program.cs. That's this tab right over here. If we take a look now at the Solution Explorer, we can see the Solution Explorer has now been filled out with a bunch of things. There's the name of the application that we're building right here. There's a couple of folders called Properties and References, and we'll see those in depth a little bit later. And then this file right here called program.cs. Program.cs is the C# file that contains the code for our program, and it happens to be open in the window right here. I'm going to go ahead and just type a couple of things. And again, I don't expect you to know this right away, but just follow along with me. Inside the function for main, I'm going to type console.writeLine. It's a bit of a tradition in programming courses that the first application you write basically does nothing more than print hello world out to whatever output device you're using. So I'm going to type in here hello world. And I'm going to save it. Now what I'm going to do is run it, and I can run it a couple of different ways. What I'm going to do is go up to the debug menu. You can see that I've got an option here for start debugging, and I've got something called build solution. I'm going to just quickly choose build solution to make sure that everything is right. And you can see down here in the status bar, there's a little piece of text that says build succeeded. So everything looks okay. Now I'm going to run it. And instead of going back to the debug menu, I'm going to click on this little green arrow right here that says start debugging. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see that some window came up very quickly and went away. And that's because the console application came up, the text was written out, and then the program ended. The .NET library said, oh, I guess we don't need the console window anymore. Might as well send it away. So to keep that from happening, I'm going to add one more piece of code down here, console.readLine. And now I'm going to save that. Now this is going to have the console window wait for us to give it a line of text. This is just a way for me to keep the console window from going away as I show how this program works. So let's try it one more time. Let's go ahead and click on Run. All right, and you can see that the console window comes up. The words Hello World got printed out, and now it's waiting for me to give it a line of input, and it's going to sit there until I do that. And you can see in the background, the UI for C# Express has changed somewhat. The program.cs window has been expanded, and we've got these two other windows down here called locals and call stack, and we'll get into this later on when we look at debugging. This is C#'s way of showing me what the program is doing while it's running. So let's bring this back up here, and you can see now that when I give it a line of text and the readLine function completes, the console window goes away and C# Express goes back to the state where it first launched. That's how we build our first C# program, and as we get further into the course, we'll explain how all of these things work.